The number of confirmed deaths has passed 200. The governor has called a state of emergency.
There are hundreds and hundreds of bodies lining the streets.
Panic spread worldwide after a leaked report from the World Health Organization showed that the latest vaccination tests have failed.
With the bureaucrats out of power, we can finally take the necessary steps.
Los Angeles is now the latest city to be placed under martial law. All residents are required to report to their designated quarantine. Riots have continued for a third consecutive day, and winter rations are at an all-time low.
A group calling themselves the Fireflies have claimed responsibility for both attacks.
Their public charter calls for the return of all branches of government.
Demonstrations broke out following the execution of 6 more alleged Fireflies.
You can still rise with us. Remember, when you're lost in the darkness, look for the light. Believe in the Fireflies.
Our backpacks are still here from last time.
A year ago, we came back to YouTube in a huge way with our review for The Last of Us. We actually got the game prior to release, and we just had tremendous success with that review, and we've had a blast staying here on YouTube for that entire year. So I think it's kind of funny that today I'm going to be taking a look at The Last of Us Remastered for the PlayStation 4. Now, I'm not going to regurgitate everything I mentioned in my review for The Last of Us on the PlayStation 3. I'll gladly point you in the direction of the video and of the written review, which goes into all kinds of detail on the masterpiece that is The Last of Us. But with this review, I plan to answer a couple of important questions, and they are, number one, should I buy this game if I've already played the PlayStation 3 version? Number 2, should I buy this game if I never played this game before? And number 3, should I buy this game if I played and hated the PlayStation 3 version? Well, I can answer number 2 and number 3 pretty much right now. If you've never played the game before, yes, buy it. Simple as that. And if you didn't like the PlayStation 3 version, well, obviously, do not buy this version because odds are pretty high that it's not going to change your mind if you didn't like the gameplay or the story or whatnot. But I really would be shocked if anybody out there really hated The Last of Us on the PlayStation 3. So I guess this review is primarily going to try and answer this question. Should I buy this game if I've already played the PlayStation 3 version and enjoyed it? So let's take a look at that question. To answer that question, I've got to tackle what makes this version so unique. There have been 2 major alterations with the PlayStation 4 enhanced port of The Last of Us. For starters, the game now targets 60 frames per second. Now that's important to take into consideration there. I said it targets 60 frames per second because it doesn't always achieve it. Like occasionally it will dip down below 60 frames per second. Now for you purists out there though, there is an option for you to keep it locked at 30 frames per second, which is what the original did. But I don't really know why you would want to do that because 60 frames per second makes everything that much smoother. The gameplay, the graphics, absolutely everything just looks and plays much, much better. So I would keep it at the 60 frames per second or the quote-unquote targeted 60 frames per second if I was you. The next major upgrade is that of the visuals. Everything is now running natively at 1080p. As such, textures are sharper and the world just seems to come alive far more than it did on the PlayStation 3. Now don't expect a complete reworking here because this still very much is a PlayStation 3 game. It's just much, much nicer to look at thanks to the resolution. And I'll be really honest, most players won't notice the difference unless you put both versions side by side. And that's okay and that's perfectly understandable. Outside of the improved frame rate and graphics, I also found the audio to have much more of a punch than it did on the PlayStation 3. Although I gotta be honest with you, that's been the case with virtually every PlayStation 4 game I've played to date. I think it's just got a really good sound chip inside. The Last of Us Remastered also has a great bang for your buck. Not only are you getting the very best version of the game ever made so far, but you're also getting all of the DLC map packs for the multiplayer portion, plus the fantastic Left Behind single-player DLC. So I'm telling you, if you add all of this up, it is well worth the asking price. They also threw in a photo mode, which was made famous by infamous Second Son, so I'm sure you guys will like that if you want to capture some of the most badass moments in the game. Now, I'm not sure if it's just me or if it's because of the improved resolution, but I did notice a lot more bugs and anomalies in this version of the game. The odds are that it was in the PlayStation 3 version, but I just never noticed it before. Things like missing textures, bizarre blood pooling, and other glitches are all here, and you'll most likely notice even a few more on your way through the game. The Last of Us was awarded a perfect 10 when I reviewed it last year, and the same is true today. Sure, there are some bizarre elements, such as how the clickers can't see or hear your AI partners, even if they're literally standing in front of them, but today that's sort of part of the game's charm. Whatever elements this game may have that detract from its overall score, they're countered by its incredible storyline, which remains just as powerful today as it did last year, and the incredible gameplay and visual presentation. This really is a modern-day masterpiece, and once again it has been added to my list of the absolute best games of the year. So let's answer that one missing question. If you've played through the PlayStation 3 version and loved it, this is an absolute must-buy. You're getting all the DLC, the best version of the single-player game released yet, and here's the real kicker, everybody. You're being given yet another reason to play this incredible game. And what more could you ask for? For the full written review, be sure to hit up projectcoe.com.
Now watch your step as you're going out, because it's going to be a little... So is that everything you hoped for?
Jury's still out. But man, can't deny that view.
Come on, this way.
Do